Hello, everybody, and welcome to Follow Everton. It is the Everton versus Liverpool preview for the game tomorrow at 12:30. An early derby as things usually go. We tend to have them around about October, November time, but we've got an early one. I think it's a perfect time for us to play the Reds. But thank you, everybody, who is joining me here tonight. I do apologise. It was meant to be me, Ryan, and Mabsy yesterday evening, but I am very, very ill. You would have just watched me glaze eyes looking at the screen yesterday. So we postponed it through to today. And after a couple of drop-offs, unfortunately, it's just myself here. So we're going to do a quick preview for the match tomorrow. Talking points are going to be the press conference with David Moyes earlier on today, Everton team news, Liverpool team news as well, what we think the Everton lineup's going to be, what we think the Liverpool lineup's going to be as well, and of course, how we think the game's going to go, what the score prediction is. It is likely to be just myself for now, so everyone who joins me, I appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. And yeah, thank you patience as well again, because I'm still not feeling very well. But we are much better than yesterday, and it's Derby day tomorrow, isn't it? So we're going to go for it. So once again, thank you very much, everyone who's joined us. Thank you, Eugene. Remember to smash the like button. I am doing this unwell, just for you guys. So you do get your preview in. So thank you very much, everyone who's joined us so far, and everyone who does like the stream, and anyone who subscribes as well. So first things first, we'll move on to David Moyes' press conference earlier today, an early one for him as well. So the main thing is the team news. He was a bit coy. If anyone watched the press conference stream on YouTube, he was a bit coy on who was and who wasn't fit. No definitive answer on whether Mykolenko was going to play. Same with Jared Branthwaite, which I think seemed more positive than what I was actually expecting him to be with when it comes to Branthwaite. I don't think he is going to play. I think it's going to be too early for him, but they're positive signs. Mykolenko, this sounds a bit more negative, to be fair, because I was expecting to say that Mykolenko is definitely fit to play, or he's got one last test before the match tomorrow to see if he is definitely going to play. But he was similarly coy about Vitaly Mykolenko being fit to play as well. So that for me is a bit of a concern. But I really, really hope that Vitaly Mykolenko does pass the fitness test or whatever for tomorrow, because I think he's a massively important part of how if we ever play well against Liverpool, Vitaly Mykolenko is a big part of that. I don't think he's the greatest Everton left-back we've had, not even in the past 10, 15 years. Luca Dean, Leighton Baines, of course. But he is solid defensively, and he always has a good game against them wingers who like to cut in on their left foot from out wide right. Salah being one of them, he often keeps him quiet. And it's always relying on Salah scoring things like worldies to get anything out of the game. Otherwise, I think Vitaly Mykolenko, he tends to do fairly well. And I think he'll be a massive part of us getting anything out of the game tomorrow if he were to play. That's not to say that James Garner's been poor. I think playing at left back, he's been one of our better players at the start of the season. Been fantastic. Yeah, when he's played central, but also when he's played at that left back role, really showing his versatility and his worth to the squad. He may not be a star in central midfielder Premier League wise, but he is versatile. He's definitely a squad player, definitely good enough to be a squad player, and he's looking a lot more improved this season, certainly playing that left back role. But with that being said, the balance is off. You have that left footer playing out wide. It allows you to pass around the back and bypass the press a little bit more, and allows you to attack a little bit better, which is something that I think we noticed with the game against Aston Villa last week, where again, if Villa was sitting deep, we weren't able to overlap, stretch you, and catch him on the transition. So ideally, we could do with Vitaly Mykolenko being fit for the game tomorrow. Obviously, the Moyes comments don't really allude to anything too positive, which hopefully that's just him playing mind games, playing a bit coy as well. He also mentioned there's a couple of other knocks in the camp. Didn't really elaborate on that. So fingers crossed when the team news comes out tomorrow, or 11:15 is or something like that, that there'll be no nasty surprises. Obviously, he said that Iliman Ndiaye last week was a doubt as well, and he played pretty much the full game. So again, hopefully it's just him playing mind games. Hopefully the team is as fit as possible. I was hoping that the only player we would have out injured would be Jared Branthwaite. Would rather have him in as well, but I think that we need as many fit players as possible. I'm hoping Vitaly Mykolenko is fit, and I'm hoping we've got no fresh injury issues as well. Because he didn't elaborate on them, I'm going to assume they're just small little knocks. I would expect them to play. Just moving on to some comments here. So, Peter, I know what you mean, but in Jazz, they've got 2 goals. Beto's got 1. He may not have a natural finisher, but Beto has shown that he gives Van Dijk, he gives Liverpool a bit of a hard time. He's not the most composed. He's not the most what's the word? He's not the most secure finisher, is he? But I still think, I said this at the end of last season, I said at the start of the season, I think if you give enough games, you'll still get your 10, 15 goals over the season, which we want a better output than that. But I think it's decent enough, and I think he's got it in him to score. Again, he scored the one, was it the 2-0 when he scored early on from the Branthwaite free kick? So once he's 3-1-1, he can score, and he's a tricky customer, and it does make Virgil van Dijk think twice. He's mobile. That's what that them 2 centre-backs won't like is how mobile and how physical he is, because he will be pulling them side to side. Liverpool like to play higher up the pitch, and I think Beto is the main man to do that. I will get into that lineup a little bit later on. We'll also talk about the Liverpool press conference and their team news, which there really isn't much news, to be honest. I've seen what Arne Slot has said in regard to the Liverpool team. And what he's essentially said is they have pretty much all the players fit for the game tomorrow. So they have a completely full squad to choose from. I was speaking to a couple of Liverpool fans today in terms of what they think the team will do. They genuinely think that players like McAllister could also miss out. They could give him a rest. They think that it's a toss-up between Ekitike and Isak. They've got no idea who's going to play right back. So I don't think the Liverpool fans are too assured as to what squad they're going to put out either. But this is something that us, myself, you guys in the chat, we'll have a chance to discuss as well. Maybe we'll discuss who we think Liverpool will put out, and maybe we'll discuss who we'd rather them put out as well. But again, just to reiterate in terms of team news, Jared Branthwaite, Mykolenko, not confirmed that either of them are going to be able to play. Could be mind games, and Moyes also said there's a couple of other knocks in the squad, but let's hope we're pretty fit and firing. Moving on to the Everton 11. Now, I'm sure we've got a couple of players in the squad who we're pretty confident who are going to play. Of course, Jordan Pickford in goal. He's probably one of the first names on the team sheet, so he'll likely start. Right back, it's going to be Jake O'Brien, isn't it? I can't see it being anyone else unless there's any other kind of injuries or fitness issues. And then the 2 centre-backs, I'm not expecting Jared Branthwaite to be fit, so I would assume it's going to be Tarkowski and Michael Keane at centre-back. Michael Keane, for all the grief that we've given him over the years, myself included, he's done really, really well so far under David Moyes. Let's hope this isn't what we've seen from him in the past, where he's had bright spells at the start under new managers. We think the manager's getting the best out of him, and then he goes into the Calamity Keane kind of moniker that we've seen from him at times. So hopefully this is him being consistent, and maybe with maybe a bit more support from David Moyes, and maybe not as being completely backs against the wall, but Moyes allowing taking the pressure off him. Maybe this is allowing him to thrive a little bit more, because I actually think it's been better than Tarkowski so far at the start of the season. Doesn't mean to say that when Branthwaite's fit, he doesn't come straight back in. Again, having someone who can use that left foot a lot better, his passing ability, his speed, that affects the team in other ways other than defensively as well. So I think it's massively important when Branthwaite comes back. But that being said, Keane's been fantastic so far, I believe. And again, he will start tomorrow, barring Jared Branthwaite being a surprise inclusion. I think the biggest question mark is going to be who plays left back. Now, if Vitaly Mykolenko's fit, he's got to play. Again, having a left footed out wide left, it allows you to bypass the press a little bit better. He's fantastic at defending Mohamed Salah, and it allows for some overlap under for Grealish as well. Grealish is going to start getting targeted more and more. We've seen that against Villa. And if we had someone like Mykolenko who doesn't overlap massively, but he's natural on that left foot, he will stretch and he will overlap more than James Garner will, who more likely underlap. And that will give us, again, more chance to get the best out of Jack Grealish instead of him just getting 2-man piling up on him kind of thing. So that's why I'd have him at left back. Now, if Vitaly Mykolenko's not fit, there's a choice of 2 who it could be. Is it going to be Adam Asno, we're going to throw him in, or is it going to be James Garner? For me, it's going to be James Garner. I think for most people, it's not going to be too much of a surprise. I'd expect Moyes to do that if Mykolenko is not fit. So what I would say in regard to that is, Asno, we're not going to throw him in at the deep end. We've seen when he came on in the Premier League Cup, didn't we, in pre-season, that he struggled a little bit. The pace of the football, pace of the Premier League level players, Liverpool, the way they play, Mohamed Salah going to attack him every single time. I think he'd probably struggle with that as well. So we'd look after him, keep him on the bench, certainly. James Garner probably be that safer bet in the left-back role than Asno at this moment in time. And again, what probably suits James Garner, because Salah's not got rapid pace, never was blistering, but he's certainly not got as much pace as he used to. He wants to cut in on the left, so he's not going to be stretched too far out wide on his left, on his weak foot. Salah will be moving in to James Garner's stronger foot if that's the case. And although I don't think he's a defender, he's a left back, he's done well so far. And I think he'll be more than capable of at least putting a good performance in against Mo Salah and hopefully keeping him as quiet as possible. Again, if Mykolenko is not fit. Moving into central midfield, this is where I think we've got some question marks. Mykolenko's fit. Does James Garner come in the centre? I think Idrissa Gana Gueye is shooing. And then who else plays that role? Is it going to be James Garner? Is it going to be Maitland Rule, who I thought was fantastic when he come on against Villa? Had a really, really good cameo. Only a short period of time that he's playing, but his pace, his physicality, the way he was winning balls, that through ball to Tieno Barry late on as well. So he's showing he's versatile. He's got a little bit of everything. He's a bit of an all-rounder. Do we want that kind of energy in the game? If James Garner is going to be playing that left-back role, because if it was me, it'd be Idrissa Gana Gueye and James Garner. If Garner's at the left, I'd think I'd probably want to protect Tim Abraham on this one. He's done well so far. He's played okay. You can still see his weaknesses there, especially defensively. What he likes to do is get the ball and drive forward. He's not a proper holding midfielder. Neither's Maitland Rule, but he's probably got more physicality and more experience at this level. So I would personally, depending on how training's gone, if James Garner's at left back, I would play Maitland Rule in that central midfield role next to Idrissa Gana Gueye and just say, look, use your physicality, be a midfield destroyer, but don't go missing. Be solid in that central midfield role, especially with the energy that Liverpool have. Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai, they're energetic, they're all physical, they're all technical as well. They're fairly well-rounded central midfielders. So again, I'll probably protect him in this game and I'll play Maitland Rule in there. And then moving forward, 3 behind the striker. There's no surprise. It's likely going to be Grealish, it's likely going to be Ndiaye, and probably going to be Keenan Dewsbury Hall as well. What we could potentially see, because Keenan Dewsbury Hall's played that number 10 role so far, I still see him more of a number 8 as his main position, then playing a 10, then playing a 6. I can see him playing fairly deeper. So instead of playing 4-2-3-1 or 4-4-1-1, we could potentially do a flat midfield 5 or a flat midfield 3, and then Grealish and Ndiaye up front. So Keenan Dewsbury Hall maybe not pushing as high up and supporting the midfield a little bit deeper. With that, the main question then, I'm sure Peter's got his preference, but is it going to be Beto or is it going to be Tieno Barry who plays up front? Who's going to get that number 9 role? Now it could be a case of, for me personally, I've seen Beto do well against Liverpool so far. The fact he's unorthodox, he gives the Liverpool backline a bit of a hard time. So I would stick with that. I do like Beto. I am in the Beto fan club, so maybe I'm a little bit biased. But I do think that for me, he's the one I'd play up front just because he's a lot more busier. He keeps the Liverpool backline under a lot more pressure. And his physicality against the like of Kirkes, who showed he can be a little bit weak, then I think that's where he's going to be best. However, I can also understand the thinking behind if you were to play Tieno Barry. We're going to have a lot less of the ball, most likely tomorrow, than we have done in other games so far this season. So Tieno Barry's much better at holding the ball up. He's not exactly great in the air, but his ability to control the ball and not give it away, whereas Beto, even though he's got Beto, sorry, I'm laughing at my own jokes there. As you can tell, I'm really ill. So, whereas he's better than Beto at keeping hold of the ball, Beto can't really hold the ball very well, despite his improvements. Maybe do we go for the safe bet and play off him and then bring Beto on later on in the game and then really try to hit tired, aged Van Dijk legs kind of thing. So let us know in the comments, guys, what you think. Certainly the midfield position, certainly the left back position, and certainly the man up front position. Let me know what you guys would do. See if you do anything different. That's what I would personally go for. I could see Moyes just going for the same team because the team's been playing well. So I could see James Garner at left back or Mykolenko. I could see if Garner's not there, I could see Tim being in. I could see him just playing the same team, to be honest. And I understand why. But I would personally, if Garner's at left back with no Miko, then I would put Maitland Rule in central midfield. I would keep Beto as the number 9 and maybe bring Dewsbury Hall back That doesn't mean that we're going to do the typical Moyes that we have done in years, where we just sit back against Liverpool and let them attack us, give up the momentum, and really just show them too much patience. That's not what I'd go for. What I do think is maybe play your midfield a little bit deeper, sit a little bit deeper, because that's what's going to happen. They're going to have more possession, but they play a high line. So what we'll do when their back line maybe gets up to the halfway line, then you can put that late press on them, or that mid press on them, force them into a mistake, and then you've got the pace of Mail and Roll, who can pass a ball, he can run, the pace of Dewsbury Hall running onwards, and Jai better with the through balls, and that's where you're going to create your chances. Personally, for me, I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think we're going to do low block like Burnley, but I think we need to be clever. I also think Liverpool have looked a bit shaky so far at the start of the season, more defensively than anything. Yeah, they struggled a little bit against Burnley, but they put the low block on, and sometimes even the best teams will struggle against a team doing a low block as well as Burnley did. Finally wore them down. Fairly fortunate goal, but I do think it was just about a penalty, especially considering the ones we've been stung for already this season. But I do think that maybe a mid block, little be defensively conscious, and then attack when we can do. Choose the right time, beat them in the transition. We've not got the pace, so we need to be a bit higher up the pitch and go from there. Again, ideally, we could do with someone, if we do play a flat three in terms of Dewsbury Hall, Idrissa Gana Gueye, Mail and Roll, or Tim Boonham, it'd be nice for Dewsbury Hall to be on the left-hand side, because if Garner's not going to be able to play, if Garner's going to be playing left back and there's no Mykolenko for the overlap, maybe Dewsbury Hall, naturally left-footed, can drift a little bit wider, create that space, and maybe fight create the overlap, give Grealish a little bit more space, and then any players that can drive forward make their way into the box as well. I know that means that we lose a man in the box where Dewsbury Hall would be there, but we just really need to get more players in the box, and we need to stop Grealish being double teamed, which is what happened against Aston Villa. Liverpool, their probably biggest question mark is going to be who's going to play right back. There is a question: is it going to be Kirkhead? Is it going to be Robertson? I can imagine him going experience with Andy Robertson there. But the biggest question there for Liverpool, especially defensively, is who's playing right back. Is it going to be Conor Bradley? Is it going to be Szoboszlai? Or is it going to be Frimpong? And Frimpong plays very high up. He does forgo a lot of his defensive responsibilities. He's basically a right wing back, almost a right midfielder. But he's very good attacking, but he leaves that space there. So that would allow Grealish potentially to get into them kind of positions. It would leave space on the channel for Beto to run into. Conor Bradley a bit more physical, will get forward, probably the most balanced of the three. And then you've got Szoboszlai, who's probably a lot more technical at that right back role. He's done well, to be honest. I think he's been the best looking of the three players playing in right back, and it's out of position. But he could want to rest like some McAllister, bring Szoboszlai into midfield, because he can. Obviously, he's fantastic in that role as well. So there's a lot of questions there to ask. Again, guys, let me know, who would you rather play against at right back? Who would you prefer to play? Would it be Frimpong? Would you rather come up against him? Maybe similar to what we've seen with Trent Alexander-Arnold for those as defensive responsibilities? Or would you rather see Szoboszlai? Would you rather see Conor Bradley there, a bit of youth that maybe we can take advantage of with the likes of Grealish winning fouls from his physical kind of game? Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think. Here's one from Jazz. So if Branthwaite starts, is the whole team pushed up? The Liverpool high line, that would create a very contested midfield battle, also in Jai and Grealish in behind the fullbacks. Certainly, I think in Jai, Grealish, yes, behind the fullbacks. I do think Grealish, he's not got the pace, has he? But he's clever in terms of how he drops behind them. So, yeah, certainly I can agree with that. And yeah, if Branthwaite comes in, we can afford to push a little bit higher up the pitch as well. I just don't know if he's going to play. I don't think he is. I think it's too soon. Maybe he's just playing mind games with the opposition manager as well. Good evening, Wormy Spoons, mate. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, let us know where you're watching the match from tomorrow. He's watching it from behind the couch. We off the boozer. We just surrounding ourselves with blue friends and family. Myself, I'm not very well, so probably going to watch it either by myself or go to family. Hopefully it's a crap game and I get to get my head down, because I'll be absolutely knackered, not feeling too well. So let me know what you think. And there you go, Peter Duggan. So Szoboszlai for them is basically what Garner was for us, but if he goes in midfield, he is the danger. He does like to drive the ball forward, but I think so does McAllister, so does Gravenberch. They're all quite physical, they're all quite progressive, and they all like to run. And this one here, yeah, I agree. Bradley will definitely get booked if he plays. He likes to play physical. He's a little bit rash. I actually like him as a right back. I genuinely think he's got it to be better than Trent Alexander-Arnold. Definitely defensively, but he's quite a well-rounded right back. Don't like saying positive things about their players, but he is. But his physical nature, I think playing against Jack Grealish, who's clever, he will get booked. Hopefully we can try and get him sent off and things like that. So, yeah, I completely agree with you, Jazz. Definitely. Just don't give him a free kick from 25 yards out, say, wait, my lad. That's the last thing we want to do is give him that kind of option as well. What about up front, Blues? So, obviously, the midfield, it could be anything from McAllister, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai. It's likely going to be Mo Salah at right wing, isn't it? Left wing, I'm going to assume it's Cody Gakpo, especially after Luis Diaz leaving. That left wing spot is probably going to be just his, although Ekitike can play out there a little bit as well. And Alexander Isak. Who's going to start up front? Is it going to be Gakpo, one of Isak, Ekitike, or Salah? Is it going to be Ekitike out wide left and Isak in the middle? Or is it going to be Isak and Ekitike fighting it out for it tomorrow? He is, no, I get what you mean, mate. He is their best physical specimen, but it is a case of that whole midfield is so progressive and so good at getting the ball forward, is that when the games get stretched, that's when I think Liverpool are at their best at the moment, because they've got them physical players who will drive the ball forward. They've got pace out wide, and they've got the kind of players where if you give them just a little bit of space, they can't harm you. So that's where we need to not drop deep. We just don't want the game to get too stretched. We want to invite them into our half, yes, and then as soon as they make the wins off, especially their backline being quite high up, I think at that point we need to pounce. Our fullbacks likely, I don't think Mykolenko might start, are not going to overlap. So we need our midfield players driving forward. That's where I think Mail and Roll will be fantastic. I know Tim can do that as well, but I think the energy and the passing ability from Mail and Roll, especially considering that small cameo against Aston Villa, I think he'll be fantastic. And I think he's what I would have in the central midfield to really combat that Liverpool midfield as well. I am sorry, guys. I am going to have to go fairly shortly. My voice is breaking, so it is getting more and more difficult for me to talk, so I do apologise. I understand that it's been quite a short one, but thank you for joining me, because, again, I postponed last night for being very ill, and that means no one else has been available this evening, so I thank everyone for joining me today. Before we do, let me know what your predictions are for the game tomorrow, your score predictions. For me, personally, I think it's going to be 1-1. I think we're going to see about 7 or 8 yellow cards tomorrow. I can see Jake O'Brien getting one, Tarkowski getting one, James Garner definitely, Idrissa Gana-Gueye is going to be getting a yellow card. I can't see anything else other than that. And I can probably see whoever plays right back for them. Robertson or Kirkegg will definitely get one. So for me personally, that's what I'm thinking. Physical battle tomorrow. Can we out-physical them? I think we can, yeah. I think we can. We've got a lot of big defenders. We've got central midfielders who really want to get about and put a shift in. Grealish isn't fast, but he can be physical when he wants to be, although he will be baiting them into making the foul. We can out-physical them. I certainly think we can. I think we just need to get really aggressive, organised, aggressive in our own half, and then take the game to them from there. I think it's time to be a bit more positive without being stupid, but I think a couple of goals, one for each side, and a very physical game, and that's what we're going to see. Hopefully it'll be a nice, interesting one. Wouldn't mind a late equaliser, to be honest, to kind of ruin things for them. That's what they've been doing to everyone so far, haven't they? So if we are 1-0 up late on, backs against the wall, let's just brick up the goal, eh? Yeah, I agree with you, Peter. I can imagine there being a couple of red cards. I think there's going to be loads of yellows. I don't know if it'll descend into reds, but certainly can see it happening. But I think an aggressive, scrappy 1-1 is what it's going to be as well. Jazz, how do we create 2v2 and 3v3 counters? Well, again, it's going to be that, for me personally, it's going to be that press in the midfield, let their defensive line get quite high, and then take it from there. We let their defensive line go quite high up. You'll have Grealish, you'll drop out wide, and Jai will want to get behind the man, so will Beto. Once you do that, you separate the defenders, and then all we need is off wide players to bomb forward, players with energy are going to bomb forward, and that's what's going to give them 2v2s and then 3v3s, maybe even outnumber them on the counter attack. There you go, flat 1v1, flat 1-1. Sorry. So I'll tell you what, guys, I've not got too many comments. My voice is breaking. I'm going to need about 16 puffs of the inhaler and something like this. So I'm going to leave it. I think the common consensus is 1-1. I'm off to douse myself in salbutamol, night nurse, and I'm probably going to throw a little 1-1 bet on as well, considering that's what the consensus is for him to follow Everton family. I wouldn't mind doing that, Jazz, as well. We'll get loads of yellow cards if that's the case, though. I'm sure they will. I'm sure they'll get away with it as well. Hint, hint, Canate. But, guys, again, I apologise for it being a quick one. It's nice little positivity to end on there. Daniel Barton, 2-0 to the Blues. Is right, lad. Thank you very much for joining me again. I apologise for it being so short on the eve of the first derby of the season as well. But we've got Robbie and Wes tomorrow bringing you a full energy, anti-copite, full of bitterness, full of anger stream tomorrow on the pre-match. So make sure you join them for that. And then join the team afterwards for the post-match one, where we celebrate our last-minute victory against the Reds to ruin their start of the season, taking advantage of their vulnerabilities. But apart from that, for me, everyone to follow Everton, hit the like button, hit subscribe. Thank you very much for joining us when we're being so ill. But I love you all. Up the Toffees. Let's have them. Yeah. Thank you very much, guys. See you later.